Good afternoon, guys. Thank you for being here. All right, so it was good to see a lot of guys get the opportunity to play on Saturday in the win over Syracuse. A lot of different guys, some new faces, some guys that have been here for a year, a little bit more, but all in all, just tremendous opportunity to not only get playing time, but to develop some depth and certainly be able to address and correct some of the issues after a victory. So certainly here to answer questions, so please go right ahead.
To that point, how does it, I guess you could file it under nice problem to have, but how does that work to focus now? When you have more film on guys and now you have some options at some certain positions, does that just go back to what you always preach about, like competition during the week is going to dictate a lot of things?
I think the two best examples are, and we talked about in this morning's team meeting, Dalen Upshaw would take 4 reps for the scout team. He'd sprint over to the other field and take 4 reps for the offense, sprint back and do the same. And so did Gerard Pringle. And both those guys had some very significant plays that helped change the momentum on Saturday. So can't overstate it enough how important it is to just buy into development, because those guys, if you take the attitude of, well, I'm not going to get my shot, then, and the execution of the plays that they ran were very telling, that the entire time they had been, buying, trying to create more progress to be able to play, that they were really paying attention to detail, because their plays were very detailed execution type plays.
You guys, some stuff happened the first 4 drives, and a lot of it was self-inflicted. It wasn't like the week before with flags and whatnot. When the start doesn't go according to plan, how important is sideline energy? How would you assess how the sideline energy has been? Like, how important is that when you are kind of running in place a little bit?
Yeah, sideline poise is huge, and I think very different than maybe the previous weeks. We did a much better job with the pre-snap penalties and a much better job not turning the ball over and forcing turnovers on the other side. But for example, the first drive, there's a batted ball that has a chance to be a monster play, right away play 1. And then there's some, a lack of execution in the form of a drop or a pressure or a sack or something of that nature, things that were really, really close, but plays to be had, because obviously not only with your information up top, but with the iPads, you can see, okay, is this thing worth going back to and dressing up, or is it something we have to move on from due to a schematic issue? And it was determined, okay, we can do this, we can get it right, let's focus on just doing our job. And the guys, they did a great job. They had great energy towards each other and towards the entire team, really.
Mario Cristobal, we knew the big play potential. It's good to see it start to come out in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he certainly had 2 really, really productive weeks. Explosive player, really hard-working player, really high-energy guy, a guy that has an impact on the other guys in the room. Phenomenal attitude every single day. Comes to work just ready to go, ready to bring energy, ready to bring some juice. And all the stuff he's been doing in practice is really, really showing up. And now, another weapon that people have to account for, which certainly helps us as an offense, distribute the ball a little bit more.
You've the last couple of weeks you've been out without 2 guys you've talked about as key leaders on offense, Mark Fletcher and CJ Daniels. Have you seen other guys in recent weeks step up and try and take on some of that leadership role?
I do. I think you see it in the form of some of the offensive linemen, in both Francis and Inez, James Brockemeyer as well. I think you see it in the form of Alex Bauman. He certainly does his part just to say the right things, to bring the right kind of energy, the right kind of demeanor. CJ, even though he has been out, has served as a tremendous assistant coach. Every single day he's had the wide receivers out there last week preparing them for their opportunity. At one point in time, I think there was a freshman back and 3 freshman wide receivers in the game with our quarterback. And there was no panic. There was nothing but just a very settled feeling, knowing that they were prepared to execute what had to be called. So, we have seen, and we're expecting to see more and more down the stretch here in November.
I swear I'm not pandering to the audience here, but when you talk about kind of stepping into leadership, you just cited a bunch of offensive line. You're a pretty good football coach. There's a lot of offensive linemen who are pretty good football coaches. What is it about that position that tends to lead to, okay, this is a potential path if you choose to take it?
I mean, you're responsible for the largest group, and it's kind of different in the sense, it's a lot like the secondary actually, plus one more player. Now you play nickel, dime, and everything else, but at the same time you include the tight end as part of the O-line as it relates to a lot of blocking schemes. But back to the original question, you're just responsible for the most position players, and schematically the failure of one is catastrophic for an offense, as opposed to sometimes at other positions, a missed tackle, got a big time defensive end or a safety come and make you right, you're going to be right. But if you're wrong up front, I mean, everybody, typically it's not going to be a great play. So the diligence, the attention to detail, the flat out just almost the OCD approach to making sure everything humanly possible is done to not only be aggressive and play at a really high level, but also to make sure things are airtight, that you are not exposed to the 1% scenario, the corner fire that's not protected to a two-man surface run, right? The nickel Mike pressure to a strong side run where, the tight end's gonna be a late add-on. All those things, they come into play protection-wise, man. It is like, from the RPO world to the play action screen game, it's a lot comes with it. So I think a lot of guys that have that type of training and understand the diligence that goes with it, they're able to handle a lot, in which, part of coaching and then moving on to coordinators and being head coaches, it's a lot. And certainly it's changed over the years. There's a lot more now on the plate than there was even 5 years ago.
You got to ask Saturday about where you are right now in the CFP rankings and the big picture and, all those things, all that noise that comes with that. Do you kind of like where the mindset of your kids are in that, Carson got a similar question. He's like, yeah, let's go play, have fun, do the job, see what happens. Is that kind of like, could you have drawn up a better approach that you want the kids to have?
Last Monday when they came in, their approach, their urgency, and what they carried out to the practice field, it was very evident that they understand that we are on the verge of playing some really, really good football, and it's all on us and about us, and we have some great opportunities coming up, and from there everything else does take care of itself. And now they understand that they have a great team coming in here, maybe the hottest offensive team and maybe one of the most physical defenses that we have faced. And they know them, and they remember a lot of the guys were here 2 years ago. We went up there and we couldn't even score a touchdown, against that defense. So they're very much where their feet are mentality, if that makes sense. And so all focus is on the fact that, in November, what's the most important in November? Team and finish and toughness and discipline and all the things that you have done for, gosh, I don't know how many practices dating back to January, how many workouts, how many running sessions, how many OTAs. It's a ton, I read them out this morning, but I have forgotten since then, it's a long time ago. So their mindset is where it needs to be, and they're ready to get after it tomorrow. Had a great day today.
You praise Pringle and Upshaw for trusting the process, development, etc. In your experience, just seeing young players like that emerge late in the season, how does that push a room to be better due to the competition that young players can bring like that?
It just validates the word development, which again, nowadays it's almost profanity, the word development, because development takes time and development requires patience. So yeah, it screams opportunity for those that continue to seek it, for those that understand that in college football and in pro football, right? Everyone's talented to a certain degree. I mean, you don't make many mistakes on just lack of talent, but the internal makeup and the mentality are going to make the difference in who pushes and forges ahead and who maybe just kind of shrinks down or maybe even pouts. And when the opportunity comes, they don't perform, right? So I think there's a great lesson for everybody. There's also, a lot of these guys are young. That's like an eye-opener for some guys. It's like, wow, I should take that approach. That approach does work. It can work for me as well. So all in all, very positive.
With Pringle in particular, understanding it's a small sample size, but what is he showing you with his vision specifically?
Well, we all saw how explosive he is. one of the big reasons why we recruited him. We want to be more explosive in every capacity on offense. So he showed that, but I thought his ability to get in and out of stuff, and set some runs up, and not so much, everybody saw, when we got the pin and pull play that he scored upon, but I thought some of the tougher yards, on tight zone and duo and mid zone, I thought he made a lot of extra yards, setting it up with both patience, speed, burst, and breaking some tackles. So he showed some really, really good stuff, and he earned himself, he was ironically a guy who was the scout team player of the week and was also a player of the game. That's probably a first. And that had to be a strong mention today, so that a good, also for coaches, a great lesson for coaches. Just keep developing your entire room, not just those top guys.
What jumps off the sheet about NC State, obviously, like you said, they score winning points, and anytime you play a good team coming off a bye, and they have 2 weeks to get ready for you, that's a little bit of an edge going that way. What are the major areas that scream out to you?
Sure. Well, I'll start offensively, just really explosive. They're a top 5 team and plays at 50 yards or more, top 10 in every other explosive play. It starts with their quarterback, but it doesn't end there. Just really dynamic. We know him, certainly a local product that has developed into a great player. Could do it with his arm, extremely accurate, can do it with his feet. Both running backs, you thought when some others went down, people, maybe feared they might drop off a little bit. He averaged, I believe, 7 yards a carry or whatnot, and in comes Scott, and they played an unbelievable game against Georgia Tech. Just really dominant offensive football, and it's complemented by playmakers outside. They could flat out go. A lot of 21.5, 22 mile per hour guys, and then a big, nasty physical offensive line, especially at the tight end position. It was really important for our edge guys to watch today and see how physical they are, running power, counter, as a second puller, as the insert fitter. They take a lot of pride in both tight ends, 265, 270 pounds. They play with great technique, feet in the ground, hands inside. They do damage in both the run game and the pass game. So that's on offense. I think on defense, what you said right away, just watch the first play of their last game. How physical they were in setting the edge, really set the tone for the game. And you always want to see that. What's the line of scrimmage look like on play 1 and then on play 70, 80? And they are relentless up front and complemented by a really good back end as well. So, we played against them, different scheme, but the same mentality, same culture, same type of players. They're playing as good a football at this time of year as you can play.
Mario, when Akem Mesidor decided to come back with everything he's been through the last couple of years, injuries 2 years ago, playing basically completely inside last year. For him to have the year that he's having now, just what does that mean to be able to see him, him having that chance to thrive in this kind of season? No
doubt. Happy for him, happy for us. Also happy that a guy listened to good advice. Certainly a lot of people are pulling on him, hey, do this now, go pro or whatnot. And he hadn't had a full, healthy season, and he's showing the entire world right now what he can do. And he's such a high impact player. He has learned the value of resilience. He has battled back from injuries and has come out on top and still getting better. His impact on his teammates is awesome. He's learned leadership, maturity. This guy, I can't say enough great things about him. I love the guy, his work ethic, I think he is a set the standard type of guy. And if you watch one of the plays where he was all the way on the backside, on pressure, a bounce or an inside zone play, that bounce, and then got outside where he had to hurdle a guy, chase him down, get him down to the ground, and then a series later, yanks the ball out when Syracuse is about to score. Those are monster plays. And not just the fact the ball came out, the way that he fought for it once the ball was on the ground, because he wasn't in an advantageous position there. But he did legally exactly what he could do, is get the ball and get in his possession. So I can't say enough great things about him. I love the fact that no one understands how banged up he was and how he played through. And I think for the team and the team culture, I think for the dozens of NFL scouts that come here on a weekly basis, that screams, high-level player, high-level character, high-level work ethic, and high-level toughness, and a guy that you have to have in your franchise and in your program. So Obviously, I'm gushing about the guy, and I got to find a way to block him tomorrow in practice with our guys, but he is awesome.
How much does it add that, to go back to the energy, like sideline energy and that sort of thing? When the ball's live, he is not smiling.
Right.
When the ball is not live, he just always seems to be enjoying being around these guys, being out. He just has one of those $1 million smiles, one
Yeah.
of those guys. How much does that,
Yeah.
he exudes the right sort of energy. How much does that?
We had part of our meeting this morning was the value of energy and enthusiasm, and there's different ones. James Rockemeyer has that, the kickoff block, upshot rolls, and there's 6 guys running down the sideline. Keelan's touchdown. You see Josh Moore. He almost runs over 4 people on the sideline, running through people to greet him when he comes off the field. When Ruben has his sack, the biggest cheerleader is Akem Mesidor. That stuff is contagious. The value of that is awesome. When the sideline is that energetic, when the energy comes from within, it is 100,000 times more valuable than anything from the outside. So he certainly brings that, and he changes the mood and the tone of the team.
Mario, just in general, the last few games or whatever, how do you feel like you guys have been doing, getting pressure, essentially without blitzing, maybe your front four? Just how do you think that's gone?
How do I think the front four has?
Applied pressure on the quarterback without blitzing, just if you're just doing a straight rush, how was that?
Well, I would categorize it in what type of plays would you be referring to? Would it be the quick game? Because quick game is going to be hard, right? Ball comes out. That's more about mirroring the hand and hoping you get a tip. 5-step drop back, the gun, third down calls or whatnot. The screen game, it's not going to happen. I think overall, it's been really good. I think we've gotten more from the outside than from the inside, but I think our inside guys are becoming better pass rushers. We certainly do bring some exotic pressures on third down, so everyone kind of gets a piece of that. But I would gauge it as good. To give it like an exact grade, I'll have to go back. I'll get back to you tomorrow on exactly how they graded out, but we do have that information.
Obviously, we're not allowed in the room, but we know that President Faria and Stuart Miller, those guys can make a point of being around.
Yeah.
All, not just after the fairway, with lose draw. The fact that the people tasked with running this place, and not just that, there's a lot of people, obviously, that they make it a point to be around not just your team, but all the teams. Does that add to the
Support, it's important that there's been a commitment made here to do it the right way and to make it sustainable. That businessmen that are also great leaders, father figures, men of action that understand that building champions requires every ounce from everybody, levels of urgency, dedication, commitment, work ethic, and that it is a relentless process where the margins, just like the games themselves, are really, really small. How can we gain those? So tremendous support group, hungry, driven group, so always good to see them there.
Mario, final home game of the regular season, the senior day, all that. For you specifically, the handful of guys who have been here, the seniors who have been here with you since day one, what's that going to do for you to recognize those guys who have been with you from the beginning of the process to getting you guys to where you are now?
Well, you reflect upon that more after the game, so you don't get all sentimental during the course of the week. I don't think these are sentimental guys by nature, but I mean, this. You always think it's going to be a long time. You think it's a long, long ride, and all of a sudden you fast forward, and how many years has it been since your last college game? How many years has it been since And it hits you right between the eyes. But you wait till then, because right now, you know what they want and what they deserve? They deserve to go out and play their best football and find a way to be 1-0. That's all that matters. In November, all that matters is that all focus is on doing the things that give you the best chance to win. And we're certainly pouring every ounce that we possibly can into that.
To have a handful of guys who have been with you since day one, and the daily transfer portal era of people moving in and out, they don't see instant results leaving. The fact you have some guys who are still here who have been with you from the beginning, just to see those guys who have come as far as they have, the Leslies, the Ness Coopers, even the Akem Mesidor transferring in your first year, to see the growth of those guys from
No doubt.
after day one to where they are now.
Just great human beings. hardworking guys, loyal guys that, took a chance on a program that really needed some massive rebuilding and are now seeing a program that's becoming more and more consistent winner and getting closer and closer to some of the big picture goals that we have. And all those things are not possible without their complete commitment.
Anything else, Coach?
Good? Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.